live your best life.
You see, there is the One. The One contains everything except an experience of itself. It is homogeneous. It is without time, space, awareness, or any experience. It is just the One. However, within the One, because it contains everything, is also the concept of the other. And as soon as the One had the concept of the other, it became all that is, the first reflection, aware of itself. But that takes a sense or a concept of reflection or otherness to be aware of yourself, because you have to have something to compare yourself to. So as soon as the One, in a sense, became aware of itself, it became all that is. There is nothing else. Everything is made of all that is. Thus, you are all that is, and any experience you have, any dream you are having, is being had by you, from you, about you, in you, made of you, because there is nothing else from which to create anything. There is only you. So everything you experience is made of you, just as everything in creation is made of all that is, because there is nothing else to make anything from. That's why many people in your history have said, just to use your particular terminology, God is omnipresent. Many people on your planet have lost sight as to what that actually means. For something to be truly omnipresent, it actually has to be not only everywhere. The only way it can be everywhere is if it's everything. Many people still confuse this idea and think, well, yes, okay, God is everywhere, but over there, not here. I'm here, but God's over there. Or maybe God comes to within inches of me, or maybe right at my skin, but then there's me. There's still a separation. You have to be made of God because there's nothing else to be made from. There is nothing else. All that is literally all that is, by definition. Therefore, of course, it's omnipresent, because it is everything. That's why it is a misunderstanding when people on your planet talk about the idea of God's will, because they don't understand that God's will is your will, and your will is God's will, because you are a unique perspective of God. And God's will is that you have your own will to be who you are uniquely, so that all that is can experience the unique perspective that you are. So there is no such thing as God forcing its will on anyone. Why would it do that when it's already everything that there is? There's nothing to force its will on, because it's already experiencing every possible perspective it can be experiencing. So what does it need to change? You see the logic of this? Well, there you go.
Does that imply the inherent divinity of every individual in creation then?
You, as I said, are all that is. Inherently, by definition. You can't be anything else because there is nothing else in all that is but all that is. So you must be all that is, made of it. Does that make sense? Yes. Because physical reality is just a mirror. There is no physical reality except your definition of it. That's all physical reality is your experience of an idea. That's all it is. Does not exist outside you because there is no outside. Outside is just a concept that's inside your consciousness. There is no outside. It's just an idea that you have created in order to experience all that is in a particular way called the space-time linear game. And you create this concept called outside, and you project what is inside into this reflective mirror called outside, and create the experience of interacting with something else, something other than yourself. But it isn't else. It isn't other. It is you. And while you can keep playing this game in any way, shape, or form you want, it doesn't mean you have to stop playing the game. You can certainly play the game more consciously. Yes, of course, while you play the physical game, there will always be some form of what you may call limitation. There has to be. There have to be definitions. There have to be descriptions of the game board. There have to be game rules, in a sense, otherwise you're not playing that game. But none of those rules, none of those descriptions, none of those definitions, the board itself does not in any way, shape, or form limit the kinds of things that you can experience and expand into that are relevant for the full exploration of the theme you chose to explore when you chose to be experiencing yourself in a physical way. Nothing about the game limits you from experiencing your full being in a way that's relevant to the physical reality experience. When you're done with it, you'll go on to something else. You'll go on to spirit experience. You'll go on to other dimensions. It depends on what you wish to do. But the idea is that as long as you are choosing to play this physical game, you can play it in a more masterful way, in a more enjoyable way, in a more effortless way, by really understanding the rules of the game, by really understanding the structure of the game board. You can become a master of this game and play with joy, play with effortlessness. It will always be challenging, yes, of course, because you want the challenge. You want to discover something. You want to experience that which is new. You want to experience surprises and learn something new about yourself from a different point of view, a different perspective, because you cannot have discovery if you don't first forget. So that is the rule of the game. You will forget, and forgetting allows you to have the joyful experience of discovery. What a thrill! So you will not lose that ability while playing the physical game, but you can become very much more aware of more to discover, of more of yourself than you may have heretofore thought there was to discover. You can begin to understand that you are a much bigger being and that you can expand beyond the boundaries you have set for yourself with your limiting definitions, negative belief systems. You will never run out of more of yourself to discover. I guarantee you that. It will never end. Ever, ever, ever end. There will always be a new perspective, always be a new point of view, always be a new way to discover yourself. That is how creation expands. The structure is there already. The structure already exists completely. You will never add to the structure. You will never change the structure. What you change is your point of view of the structure, your perspective of the structure, your relationship to the structure, your experience of the structure. That is what the expansion of awareness is all about. That is how all that is expands and grows, and it's how you expand and grow because you are all that is. Does that make sense? All right, well, we'll see.
Thank you with all of my heart for watching. Subscribe to explore more spiritual techniques, inspiring interviews, and powerful meditations. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time.